Good morning. On behalf of the Regional Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, we welcome you to this morning's webinar. The Regional Hispanic Chamber of Commerce and the Office of Small Business and Disabled Veterans Business Enterprise Services, OSDS, we are here to assist you with your certification and procurement access through outreach, education, and advocacy. Again, we welcome you to this morning's webinar, and I hope that you all reach your success by doing business with the state of California. Now I share the screen with my partners, Diane Lydon and Teresa Macias.
Thank you, Sandy. Welcome, everyone. I'm glad you could join us today. This is the second webinar in a three-part series. And my name is Diane Lydon. I am a business outreach liaison for the Office of Small Business and Disabled Veteran Business Enterprise Services. I have with me today also Teresa Macias Ruiz, who is a bilingual business outreach liaison, also for the Office of Small Business and Disabled Veteran Business Services. That is a lot to say, so we often call it OSDS. Prior to joining OSDS and the Department of General Services, I was with the World Trade Center Northern California as the manager of education and training, where I helped businesses such as yours prepare and to do business internationally. So a lot of the same work that I did there, but now I'm helping businesses prepare and certify and hopefully successfully contract with the state of California. You know, my team, Teresa, myself, and the others in OSDS, we can both assist your business, we can help you understand how to do business with the state, and we can offer resources so that you can navigate the solicitation process, because we want to ensure that all small businesses have the opportunity and ideally succeed in contracting with the state. In today's presentation, there's going to be, if you've attended last week, great, thank you. I'm glad you're back again. There will be some overlap in the presentation from last week, but we're going to go into everything a bit more in depth. And having said that, you know, we covered a lot of information last week, so maybe hearing it again will make things click and it kind of all comes together for you. I'm just curious if you want to put in chat your company name and email and LinkedIn maybe details, maybe what you want to or hope to get out of this webinar. That'd be great. This is our networking opportunity when we have this chat open in our webinars. And also, I'm just curious if you can go ahead and let us know if you've already certified or if you've completed the certification process. That's always nice to know for us. So we're going to have 8 topics that we're going to cover in this presentation today. We're going to take a break after each of those topics. And I'd like to encourage you to participate by asking questions. Just a little housekeeping here. Go ahead and use the Q&A for your questions, and you can put them in at any time while I'm speaking. And then when we get to that topic break, we'll handle Q&A. And then also please use the chat for networking, not the questions. We want to make sure that we get to each of your questions, and oftentimes in the chat they get buried and it's kind of hard to find them. So again, we're going to be looking at how you can update and improve your profile. We'll go over bid solicitations, how to do your market research for past purchases. We're going to talk about advocates, how important they are to the process in successfully gaining a contract with the state, as well as reciprocity, a network of partners that we use to help streamline certification. Another opportunity for contracting, which is emergency procurement or emergency purchases, our compliance element, as well as we'll provide resources for you. All right. So in the webinar last week, I touched upon creating your Cali Procure and the importance of having a robust profile, because the profile is used not only to present your personal and business details, but it's also a means by which buyers in all the different state departments can search and find your business. It's also how you can receive email notifications of upcoming bid solicitations. So it's really critical that you work on building and updating your profile in Cali Procure to improve your chances of business opportunities and appearing in searches where either state automated emails come in, or maybe buyers themselves might reach out to you. So in addition to kind of your basic information, you'll have information in your profile that describes your business or your service. And last week we touched upon this. And if any of you have went into Cali Procure and registered and then certified, then you're familiar with keywords and UN SPSC codes, which is the United Nations Standard Product Service Classification. So we often refer to that as UN SPSC codes. You use the codes when you registered, and then when you certified, you added codes and keywords. So codes and keywords are one of the most significant parts of the profile when it comes to, contract opportunities, and they're often, we have found, the most where most often businesses will make mistakes. So let's go ahead and dive in here to keywords and codes. So again, I talked about why they're important. You're going to be speaking the same language as the state. So codes and keywords are the systems that we use. It provides the ability for state buyers to find you, and how buyers can find your company. When you're registered and certified, you are added to the certified firm database. Okay, so typically, I'm sure most of you all have a website. Most businesses do. The website offers a means to talk about your company, its people, customers, what you sell. And so that's similar to what you're doing here, right? Keywords allow you to describe your goods and services, and you can use as many keywords as you want to describe your products and services. Again, keywords allow buyers to find your company, much like finding your company on the internet through your website for a browser or search engine. Okay. How do you use keywords, right? There's a couple points that are important here. Is one, they are individual, such as concrete, environmental, legal. They're singular, not plural. So as you can see here in the example, paper, pen, stapler, pencil, not pencils, as plural. Any word can be a keyword. You just need to remember that keywords should be entered into your profile one at a time, and not as a sentence or a string of words. Because oftentimes I know many of us, me included, we kind of use a string of words on Google to find what we want. This is really very specific to one keyword. And again, use as many keywords as you want. So what are good keywords? They're relatable or common words to your market. If you're in an industry that's maybe technical, there might be some technical language that you want to include, or you may consider a brand name that might be specific to your market and very relevant. You can use synonyms that are words that are very broad in nature or very specific. Another thing is you can use keywords when you look to find your competition. When you kind of look and see what your competition, when you're searching up your competition, that's a great way. You can also pull keywords from descriptions of your UN SPSC codes. That we're going to go over that next. But you can also even look up keywords within Cali Procure of your competitor's profile. And that's through the supplier certified firm database supplier search. And those words you can put into your profile. Let's move on now to those UNSPSC codes. I have on the screen here kind of the breakdown of how the codes work. Again, they are goods and service that describe what you sell. Initially, because you can imagine United Nations, it's a broad database of codes. Originally, we had about 40,000 codes used on Cali Procure site. We have since now reduced those down to 14,000. And the reason for that is we've kind of streamlined that search process to those classification codes that are used most often in purchasing of goods and services. Little tip, we'll have a link later on when resources to kind of help you find those codes. But you can see here, there's 4 levels in terms of the hierarchy of these codes. Very easy to look at. There's 2 numbers that start off the code, and then there's a bunch of zeros or numbers that follow. The higher the number of zeros, the more broad it is in nature. As you get down to level 4, there's no zeros, and those are the much more specific description as this slide depicts. So it's important, a couple of best practices when you're entering your codes into your Cali Procure profile, and that is to use level 3 and level 4, because those codes allow buyers to find you more better than a broader one. You can use the parent codes often to kind of search for a general classification and then search for an additional, and we'll show you when we get down to the tactics of updating your profile. How do you select the codes? To find relevant codes, you need to just follow a few steps. You can search the codes that describe the products you sell based on the description or keywords. When you've found a few codes that work for you, just look at the hierarchy as I suggested and find potentially relevant codes. As I said, there's a dashboard with commonly used codes. That's a link we're going to provide later on in the webinar for resources. That's a great way to find codes grouped by general use. And then lastly, just like before, the keywords, when you search the public profiles of certified firms, perhaps your competitors, you can look and see what codes they use and just use those as well. Kind of an easy way. All right. How do you use these codes? So we use them in 2 ways to enable buyers to find you. First is in the registration profile. And this is to receive state automated emails from your Cali Procure site. And those are relevant bid solicitations. The second is on your certification profile. And those listing those codes is what allow buyers to find you. So it's very, very important. Registration profile codes allow for those state automated emails. Codes in your certification profile, excuse me, allow buyers to find you. Okay, so they're going to search in the certified database via those codes, and those are going to help you. So using these codes also helps to kind of better define the types of solicitation you may want to focus on, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But before we go further, let's go ahead and just take a break here and ask any questions that you have. If there's any questions on keywords and UNSPSC codes, how to use them, why do we use them? Teresa?
Is there like a cap of UNSPSCs that you can use on your profile?
No, you can use as many codes and as many keywords as you like to describe your product and services in your profile.
That's all there is.
All right, well, let's get going on next on exactly how you can update your keywords and codes in your profile. All right, I'm going to assume that you've all registered and certified and you know how to log into your account and to bring up your work center. Once you open your work center, you're going to see on the left side under My Account, Manage Notification Profile. You just click on that button to update your registration profile. And you're going to see first here on receiving SB and DVBE subcontract bid notifications. This would be a yes for everyone, I believe. Initially, you're going to want to have access to as much information to know what the opportunities are for you. Again, this is your registration profile. So if you are, aspirational and you don't know what you kind of want to get involved with and maybe you want to explore, this is where you're going to again select yes. Once you go there, there's another one that's the notification contacts, that's where you add your email. So just remember the CSCR is for current advertised competitive bid solicitations. So that's what you're going to be receiving. And you're going to want to check yes there. There is also the, after you add your contact and your emails, you can add as many emails as you'd like. Each email will receive a notification, but I just would caution you here as a best practice is that, you know, either create an email that can go to one area or a general generic email, because if it's one person's email and then they leave, kind of hard to retrieve back those notifications. So just be aware that you can put in as many email notifications as you, or email contacts in here as you want. Each one will get a notification, but you just have to be cautious that you'll have access if people change, staff change, things like that. Another area is the service area. We recommend here that you put services statewide. Again, you're going to want to see, it's really helpful if you're expanding your business or you're not sure, for market research, information that you'll receive of opportunities. They could be slightly out of your service area, but you know, you don't want to limit yourself here in the registration profile, because you can find businesses, things that are perhaps you can take advantage of here. Opportunities. Next is in your registration profile where you're going to add your codes that you've identified as part of your registration profile. Maybe you've already picked out your codes. If not, you can go ahead and put a description in, and that will perform a search. And then you can select the codes here. You might, as I said, choose the parent code, and you can see in this example, we've put in paper, and you can see the paper products, but then below that is fewer zeros. And then even below that, if you look, the ending is 501, it goes into onion skin paper. So you can see how it really gets down into the details of a product or service. So once you've clicked on all those that you've found that you want to do, you'll go down and scroll to the bottom. You won't be in this screenshot, but you'll say add selected. And then that will transfer over to my notifications in your selection. And then just before you leave this page, you want to make sure you save it. Okay. As I said, again, just to reiterate, in this registration section of your profile, these can be all sorts of codes that may be aspirational in nature for you. If you think you might want to sell or provide a service, you can put in a code in, and you'll be able to see, what you get, right? Because these notifications, these alerts are system generated. They're not sent directly by buyers, which is a little bit different. And those are in your certification program, and which we're going to talk about next. So before we go to questions, I want to also mention just in another section of the registration profile. Oh, goodness. Yes, sorry, I got off track. My apologies. Yes, as part of the registration, we've added something, and that is the new voluntary supplier diversity data collection. This is for all new businesses, and even for those who are already registered, you can go back in and update your bidder, your registration profile. Again, this is voluntary and not required. It just is for the purposes of collecting data to gain a better understanding of the registered and certified business owners and their demographics. It provides a lens so that we can best serve our communities, and we want to encourage you to participate. Of course, it can help us determine where our outreach is needed among various communities to support really a greater diversity of small businesses in state contracting. So currently, this information is stored within your business profile. It's not displayed in the public search. However, by voluntarily providing the information, you do agree and authorize that the state can display this information if it so chooses to do so in the future. All right, so just a quick look at where it is in your work center. You can see that it's under my account, manage diversity information. You'll click on there, and here's the page where you'll fill in the boxes. Again, it's voluntary, but it does help us to determine where we can put our efforts in terms of outreach. All right, let's go to questions and answers. We've We've kind of covered how to update your notification on your Cali Procure and your registration profile. Just to quickly summarize, you're going to log into your profile. You're going to go to manage profile notification, and you will want to make sure you say yes to receive subcontractor solicitations. Check statewide for service areas, and then add your UNSPSC codes. All right, any questions out there?
I didn't see any questions. So there was one, but I answered and it's very specific. So I've already addressed it.
Okay, great. Thank you, Teresa. Keep those questions, don't be shy. We'd like to have them. It's important. Updating your certification profile with codes and keywords is what we're going to do next. All right, again, back to the work center. It's always your place. You'll notice now on the right side that you're going to have certifications, and you're going to want to click on manage certifications. There's going to be times, even after you've set up your profile, that you want to go back and update your code. So you may have put in a service area and you want to modify that. You might want to add codes. So this is really a great way to update and keep it really active. You're going to want to click amend application. And then you're going to get to this page. And this, you'll see several tabs at the top. You want to click on other. And it's important here to note that once you click on other, you need to scroll all the way to the bottom. And at this point, you're going to click save and continue. But what you'll need to do is you're going to need to continue to scroll through to the bottom of each of those tab pages. Essentially what you're doing is you're going across those tabs. It does give you the opportunity to change any of the content that you've put in on those pages. But again, you'll just scroll down to the bottom, hit save and continue, scroll down to the bottom, hit save and continue. Then you are going to arrive on the taxes tab, which is the tab just before you want to be to update your codes. I know it's kind of a hassle, but this is how it's set up. You're going to get a message. You'll see a message that says, confirm your GARs or your gross annual receipts. Click yes, unless of course it has changed. So until you get to the last other page, you want to click save and continue. And then when you see this page, you'll know you've arrived. Okay, so on the left is the service area codes. It will ask you if you want to transfer your areas from your bidder, but we recommend here that you select no, and you add the very specific areas in which you want to work, because if you transfer it and you click yes, it'll go to statewide, right? And that's going to not really be where you want to have in your certification profile. So click no, and then down below it, go ahead and select the specific areas that you do business in. And then on the right, you're going to edit and add keywords. So you may have come across some keywords that you decided you wanted to add. You looked at your competitors and saw what their keywords were. And so you want to come back and add them. You want to have as big of a list of keywords as possible. But remember, keep in mind the rules, singular and single word per line. Okay, these functions are pretty straightforward. You check the boxes, you can delete and add. Next, you'll want to update your UNSPSC codes as well. So you'll hit no, and that will bring up the opportunity to add. So you'll click on add, and you can see in this profile, these certifications, there are 3 classification codes. Now we're going to go and search. If you don't have the codes you already know, you can put in a description here. And then the samples will come up below like a search results, and you check on those. In this, I think we've used paper again. Yeah, we used paper again. And you can tell by the number of zeros kind of below the description. And then you'll go to the bottom, you'll hit save. And now you can see we added those 2 additional code classification codes, paper products and business use, printing and writing paper. All right, let's go ahead and go to any questions here. I know because, companies are always evolving as demand and the market changes. So it is important that you maintain, your profile and with the most up-to-date and accurate information that describes your business products and the services that you sell. And this is a way you can be assured that buyers can find you. Because remember, registration profile is state automated. You can have aspirational keywords and codes in there just to see what the market looks like. But in this certification area in your profile, this is where the buyers go to find you. So you really want to narrow it down to very specifics, because you don't want a buyer calling you about a product that you don't even sell. That's not going to look good. Any questions?
Well, one came up regarding GARS, and I think because you were talking about GARS in the other, in the tabs after you get to the other, or before you get to the other. So the question is, as the company that works in multiple states for the GARS, are we reporting the receipts in California or the full company? So do you have affiliates? That's my question, Blake.
Yeah, that's a question to be unpacked a little bit.
Yeah.
Because one of the eligibility requirements of certification is that your business is domiciled in California. So that's a question I would take offline. We can put in our outreach email. We can do it now in the chat, Teresa, or we can put it in later and you can come back to us. We also have one.
Maybe a certifications question type of deal. Yeah, maybe I'll send you the email for the certifications area.
Yeah,
and they
can answer those.
Yeah, because but you need to be more specific. You need to let them know if you have, because you say full company. I'm assuming you have affiliates somewhere else, or I don't know. So it needs to be, you need to give them the complete picture. That's the bottom line.
Hopefully your company's headquartered here. All right. Anything else? Go ahead and move on to, the contract solicitations area, because that's where everybody's interested. Now you've got your profile all set up. Now let's go out and get some bids, right? You're going to first, there's two areas, right? So we're going to first talk about California State Contract Register, which is a database of all of our current or active competitive advertised bids. Again, you'll log into your work center. And the reason I'm asking you to log in is that you don't necessarily have to go ahead and search our CSCR, but some of the functions in this area are not available unless you do log in. So once you go log in, you're going to want to click on Start Search, and this will this will bring you up to this page, which is where you want to put your search parameters in. Just don't be fooled by event name. That is the bid. It refers to the bid solicitation. You can search by, a solicitation name, a department. Even we have also an advanced search. So I'm going to kind of take you through that, because that might be a better way to go ahead and search this database. You're going to find here, you can search by a lot of different parameters. You can put in the dates. So if you want to look through a certain date, or as well, this is great. You want to search by your codes. You can search by your service areas, or even if you have a particular license or a contractor license, you can search by that as well. So once you put in your search parameters, this is what you'll get. You'll get a whole listing of bid solicitations. Each one of those lines you'll click on, and that'll bring up this detailed page, which has a lot of information, right? You'll have the name of the department. This is the department that's conducting the procurement. Want to point out here, this is the event end date. So this is important, because this is when all bid responses must be received prior to the date and the time. Anything late will not be considered. It shows here the contact information. So this lists who's in charge and responsible for procurement. And if you have any questions on this specific bid solicitation, these are the people who you want to ask. It is best to email these individuals. Now, this is not the person who you're going to market to. We're going to talk about that later in the workshop and how you go about that in marketing your services. But this is the contract administrator. Maybe you have a question, you look through what's in the event package, you look through it, which has all the documents, including the statement of work, the bid submission instructions, requirements, expectations, you know, and there might even be occasionally a checklist. You look through this and you're like, ah, you know, I have a product. It's not exactly this, but it does the job and it does it cheaper, let's just say. That would be the perfect opportunity for you to reach out to this contract person and say, hey, would this be a good substitution? You know, or maybe you have some questions on the instructions. That's why you would contact this individual. I want to point out as well, before I go on to post the advertisement, just one thing that's underneath the contract information is the bid conference. It can be listed, it cannot be listed, it can be mandatory, it cannot be mandatory. Nonetheless, if it is listed, it would be beneficial to attend. There's questions that are posed and answers from the conference, and then they're published, here in the event package. And so just remember, really read everything in that event package and carefully pay attention to all the details because they do matter. So again, I clicked on the post and advertisement. This is a great place to market your company. It's free and it allows you to potentially reach out to prime contractors who may be searching for a specialty that you provide or your company that provides, or it may be looking to work with a small business. Some solicitations do require a small business participation. And so that's a great place. Also, you can view ads that are already posted and maybe you can apply. So in the advertisement section, once you click on post and advertisement, here's the page that you'll come to. Remember, be very specific and explicit in your title. Provide a response deadline. Why? You've got a deadline to respond to the solicitation, so you're going to need some time. So think about the deadline you want people to respond to you in your ad. And then the written description, make sure you include your certification number, and it is limited to 2,000 characters. All right. So next, it's really important before we get to these Q&A, these questions rather, it's really important to evaluate these solicitations. You know if this is where you want to spend your time and your effort. Do your research to understand what it is that the buyer really wants. You know, ask questions if you need to understand if your company has the capabilities and it's worth your time. You know, just like when you do business development in the private sector, you want to show what you know, that you know what they need and demonstrate your experience, right? So now that we covered, you know, finding bid solicitations, we're going to open it up to, that's current bid solicitations. We're going to open it up to questions.
There are no questions, but I do want to tag along with what Diane said. You use the resources available, which Diane will talk about. There's lots of resources that are free and can help you understand a bid that you may be interested in.
And later on, we've got a human resource we're going to talk about that can help you with that as well. So let's go to the other portion of a database that we use. It's affectionately called Skippers, and it houses all of the data of past state purchases. Why is this important to know about? Well, it's a great market research tool, and you can also research your competitors. You can learn what different departments buy, when they buy it. Maybe you have a seasonal product, and you need to know when they buy that product and how they purchase. There are different ways and types of contracts that a department will use. You know, we talked about last week, we talked about non-competitive, non-advertised solicitations. You know, that's an SB DVB option, fair and reasonable. We're going to talk about these next week. So I encourage you to attend the last part, the third part in this series where we're going to really dive deeper into contracts. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into skippers. So you want to go to the home page or your work center, go ahead and click on Find Public Procurement Information. Second link down is the state contracting and procurement registration system that we affectionately called skippers. And this is where you're going to be taken. It's, again, this database, it goes back to 2015. So you can imagine the volume of data here. So you're going to want to use some parameters and filters to kind of narrow down your search. And you can see in this example that you can use start and end dates. You can use keywords, departments. If you want to use dates, you may want to keep it to maybe 4, 5, 2, maybe 6 max. These queries do take a long time once you put in these search parameters. So I suggest your patience. As you can see, we've populated this search by the description at the top of construction. Very broad, brought up a whole database. Now, what's important here is you can download this. It's really important. There are columns to the right that you can't see. And when you download this, you can analyze it to help you determine, which departments buy your products and service, which businesses, which of your competitors currently have contracts with the state. So you're able to see also the different contract vehicles or acquisition methods as well, which I said we'll talk about next week. So very important to download, right? And to it's in an Excel spreadsheet, just get in there, dive in. There are some other ways that we've provided some services as well for this. This is our state procurement data dashboards. And you might find these very helpful, and it's a great place to start when you're doing your research. It is created from the same data set as skippers. And you can see here, we'll put the link in later at the end when we get to resources, but you'll see here there are 6 dashboards. Department spend, UNSPSC codes, top 10, great stuff here. So we encourage you to maybe start here or go to skippers as well and do your own analytics of the data, or analysis, excuse me. All right, so we've covered past purchases. Let's open it up for questions about this subject.
Okay, so how current is the information in skippers?
How current? Yeah. So again, the information is 2015. It is, we batch entry past purchases. And so it's updated quarterly. So you'll have pretty much all of the information, at least up until the last quarter.
Okay, that's all the questions I have.
Okay.
Oh, hold on. There's questions coming in. Once the contract has been awarded, can I search and go over details of the original invitation to bid?
The original invitation to bid. What you're going to see once it's awarded is all of the details of the award. Teresa, you might help me out here. I don't know that the bid solicitation, which you'll find in the registry of current bids, I don't think that appears anymore. Is that true, Teresa?
I'm not completely sure either, but I would think that what you're saying is correct.
Yeah, but you're gonna, once that award, you're gonna see a lot of information once you bring all that information in to your computer.
That's all the questions.
Okay. All right. Okay. I often talked about, we talked about all of the kind of the material, the data, to find out here are the people, right? These are the advocates. I'm going to explain their role, how best to reach out to them, and how to find them, right? Advocates, as the name implies, really supports the state's mandate to contract with small businesses and to build a robust small business economy. They are state employees. They advocate for small and disabled veteran businesses. You know, we have that mandate of 25% of state department purchases need to be with small businesses and 3% with disabled veteran businesses. So they're working in purchasing within a designated department, and they can recommend your company to buyers. They're your first point of contact, and they're who you can talk about, or talk with rather, about your product, your service, your capabilities, your experience. Essentially, as I said, when we were talking about the contract administrator, you know, you don't market to them, you market to the advocate. All right. They can help answer questions about, you know, can I sell your product? You know, can you sell your product or service to the state? Which department? They can help figure out potential solicitations, either now or in the future. Okay, so you want to remember to really hone your pitch. Like everybody knows kind of about elevator pitches these days, but you really want to be very succinct in how you present your company. And always, always, when you're speaking to an advocate, include your supplier ID. It's best to reach out to them initially by email. And again, you know, develop a rapport with them. Contact them every 3 or 4 months. If you've got a new company update, you just finished a great project you want to talk about with them. Here's how you find them. Again, on Cali Procure, under Find Training and Resources, you'll click on that. You'll scroll down to Research and Marketing, and there you're going to click on that link, and it'll bring you to a DGS website page, which has a downloadable advocate directory. Once you download it, this is what you're going to find. It's a directory of all the departments, the office, the advocate's name, contact information, including their email and their phone, and sometimes even departments have websites. One important thing to note when you're looking at it is like, why are they highlighted in yellow? Well, because these departments have a small business first policy. This is a formal policy that stipulates, you know, staff really approach every solicitation in that department from the lens of small business. So they start from the very beginning to incorporate small businesses and DVBEs in their bid solicitation process. We added a column here that is construction, and that's just so you can easily find relevant departments for construction, and those are marked with an X. All right. One thing I also want to, you know, a portion of this directory is for the transportation. You know, this is the Department of Transportation, Caltrans. In April of 2022, they initiated a small business first policy where they upped the figure to $388,000 contract dollars. And so that was given to small businesses. These, again, are solicitations that may not be posted. Therefore, you know, you contact each district and give them your pitch. And you might find the advocates, obviously, in these departments. So one other thing I wanted to say before I move on to the next piece of this is that the DVBEs in Caltrans, they upped the 3% to 5% participation. So they're really on it to get small businesses working in with their contracts. Okay, the last topic I want to discuss as it relates to marketing your business and kind of building that rapport with the advocates is the capability statement for your company. The capabilities statement kind of allows a potential buyer to get a sense of your company, not unlike working in the private sector. It's what you can do, your clients, and why they would want to do business with you. It's kind of really simple. You tell them what they need to know, and then you tell them why they need to know it. All right. We encourage you to keep your capabilities statement to one page. List your contact information, your supplier ID, any certifications that you have. You can include, you know, maybe a handful of your codes that you use. You'll see in this example of a capability statement, they've included the NASIX codes. For people that don't know that, that is industry related and not product and service. You don't have to include those if you don't want to. It may be important depending on the department you're going after. Really describe very clearly, succinctly what it is you provide. And you might want to include an industry sector, maybe a a particular project or client, and you can change these. I kind of relate a capability statement to a resume. You might want to change it up different for a different department. So this is sometimes it's a very fluid document. I just curious, put in the chat if you already have a capability statement. Let's just see who out there, who among us has a capability statement. And I also want to say, we often say, hey, we're here to help. Just call us with questions. This is one area that our team cannot help you. We cannot create, draft, or edit. There are resources, the Regional Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, other organizations that are really better positioned to help you with this capability statement. So Teresa, how many people in the chat said they've got a capability statement?
Sorry, they're still putting it up, but I see 3 people so far.
Okay, good. Out of 20.
Okay,
people?
4. Okay, so they're still doing it.
All right. Well, listen, I've covered advocates. Now let's open it to some questions. If anybody has any, they can put it in the Q&A section before I move on.
There is no questions, but I do want to let you know that I got the answer for about getting the original invitation to bid.
Yes.
You can do it. You can go into the CSCR, and then on the top of the page, there's a place where you can actually change the event status to historical data, and then that way you'll be able to get the that information that you want.
Excellent.
Yes.
Excellent.
We have a great team.
That's a good answer. I like that. Thank you, Teresa, for doing that. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's about it.
Okay. Well, let's move on now. Got a couple of last sections we're going to cover. Reciprocity partners. This is a statewide partner network, and the benefit of that is that your certification with the state is recognized by our reciprocity partners. Who are our reciprocity partners? They include cities, counties, utilities, and educational institutions as well. They do have their own solicitation and solicitation requirements, but through this partnership with them, we've streamlined the certification process for you to be able to work with them. And it may be a perfect opportunity for your business to kind of get started in the public sector, to work with a local municipality, or maybe a community college, or maybe a utility company. You'll want to register, as a vendor in their system. Make sure you set to receive their potential notifications and just gather as much information as you want or like to or can. You always want to be best positioned to know what's out there in terms of business opportunities. And there is a link, this link particularly, we're going to put it in the chat later, but that takes you to our DGS website. And then from there, all the organizations are listed and you can click on them and it'll take you to their website directly. Next opportunity I want to talk about is emergency purchasing or emergency procurement. We have developed most recently, last year or so, an emergency registry. It's a dedicated portal for California certified businesses to register as a supplier of emergency goods and services. So it's unlike Cali Procure, it's a separate portal. It's only for businesses who can really provide services in predetermined emergency categories, only for the emergency purchases, sake of emergencies. And this is where state buyers go when there's an emergency to access and search for a pool of suppliers. Which businesses should sign up? Should I sign up? It is a self-selection process, but we want to make sure that you ask yourself the question, am I currently ready and able to support the state of California in an emergency? It requires very fast, around the clock turnaround times. You got to be available, 24/7, and your business should not register unless you're really fully capable of immediately providing the goods and services they list. These are some of the categories. They're not all of the categories, but you need to select at least one when you're registering. You'll also need, these items here, your certification, the categories you're going to select, the address and everything. I just want to remind you all of the importance of just being truthful and accurate when describing your product and services. Just imagine if the state's got a wildfire or, an earthquake or something comes up, and these department buyers are having to sift through a bunch of businesses when lives and property are at risk. So they essentially need to make 1 or 2 calls. So you don't want to have them call you and say, well, I'm out of that product, or I can't round up my staff in enough time, because that really is precious time the state needs. All right, next, and this is pretty much our last section, is commercially useful function. This is our compliance with contracts for all bid solicitations and participation in any contract. There is the commercially useful function compliance. It's done by buyers or the contract administrators of the awarding department. There's pre-award, post, just throughout the contract, life of the contract. It's by the contract administrators, not the business. So you're not determining if you are performing CUF, but you can see whether you are by some of the examples we used here. You're executing the work, you're buying the inventory, you've got it in stock, you're managing the ordering and making the payments, you're performing what is really the normal part of your business, right? Let's say you've got a contract and you need to subcontract to complete the contract. Is it a normal portion of some subcontracting that is expected of your industry? Okay, this is kind of pretty, you can kind of tell whether you're in CUF by a lot of these examples. Now let's go through the elements in performing a contract that are not in compliance. And I'm going to put out an example. You can put yes or no if this is in CUF. You're a small business, you get a call from a contractor and they've got a project and they need a small business to be able to meet that solicitation bid. They're like, hey, don't worry about it. I'm going to use your small business certification, but you don't have to do anything, and I will kick you back 2%. Put in the chat whether you think that is in compliance or not in compliance. I use it as an exaggeration because it can be that simple, but it may be a little more complicated than that, right? Obviously, that's pretty much fraud, so we know that's not in compliance. But you're not being used to perform the work, right? Or maybe you're no longer using those, have those products and services that were initially in the bid. I think the 4 words you have to kind of pay attention to here is honesty, truthfulness, accuracy, and being forthcoming. Reach out to a buyer. If, again, you're in that subcontract stage, just ask the questions, be forthcoming, be accurate, and you're going to avoid any complications when it comes to CUF or compliance, because there are fines if you are found in violation, up to $50,000 in possible jail time. And plus you're going to have those court fees and attorney fees on top of that. All right, not to scare you, but it's pretty easy if you're honest, truthful, accurate, and forthcoming. All right, great. We're to resources. This is the time I love. That means we're to the end. Go ahead. I've talked a lot in the last, almost hour. Please put any questions in the Q&A. We can cover them if we need to. Here are some links and resources. Teresa's going to put those in the chat. You have the statewide purchase dashboards that I talked about in terms of helping you with market research. You have more to learn about UNSPSC codes. There's also a custom dashboard for UNSPSC codes as well. On the videos, there's great videos we have. They're wonderful, they're short, they're brief, they're informative. We have them on the codes, we have them on how to certify your business, and also placing an ad and accessing solicitations. So please use those. I would also encourage you to reach out to, the Regional Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, or even the SBDCs, the Small Business Development Centers, or the Procurement Technical Assistance Centers, SCORE. They can all help you with parts of this, developing your business. They can even help you with, putting a bid together. They can help with business planning and marketing, access to capital, mentorship. So they're great. They're really great. So we've come to the end. Before I review, are there any questions, Teresa, that we should answer?
There were some questions, but it disappeared. There was a question.
Maybe in the chat or in the Q&A?
No, it was in the Q&A, but for whatever reason, it disappeared. On the chat, they only put, Ty put out of compliance. I don't really know what that means. It was when you were speaking about CUF, but I'm not sure what that means.
Yeah, so just to reiterate there, commercially useful function is how we make sure that people are doing what they've said they will do in a contract. And so there are areas which, if you're performing the duty and the function outlined in the contract, then you will be within CUF or in commercially useful function or in compliance. There are a set of things that if you're doing this, you would be outside that commercial function. So it kind of splits it out, right? And we can go over these in detail with you, but remember, the most often is, if you're being used, your small business certification is being used as a pass-through. You're not actually doing the work. You are not inventorying. Like, let's say, you have a Amazon account, and great, you're going to provide all this product to the state. You're just going to order it on Amazon and have it drop shipped. No, you're not inventorying the product. You're not really maintaining that. So that would actually be outside of CUF. These are some brief examples. But we certainly have resources on that if you need to know more. Anything else?
No, that was it. I'm trying to post all the links and it doesn't copy the actual website link, so I'm having to double do the work.
Just, right click on it, copy.
No, I know, it just doesn't want to do it, and sometimes it does, so it's okay.
Okay.
It's giving me a hard time. It's a Zoom.
All right. Well, we have a few minutes to get those in there. I'm just going to do a quick review. We've talked about the importance of developing, maintaining your profile, both, remember, the registration profile and the certification profile. A lot of difference there, and how we covered how you can effectively use each. We talked about using both the current and the past purchases to perform market research, and just to gain a better understanding of the types of purchases within your market or industry performed by your competitors. The importance of advocates to develop that relationship, build that business, to build those business opportunities, have your capabilities statement, stay in touch with the advocates. Again, I said completed project, or you added a service, go ahead and build that relationship with the department. And this is the other thing, you don't have to reach out to all the advocates. That's like if you did a mass email, imagine how horrible that would be. You really want to target, you want to learn which departments, and that's where you do the research, which departments are best, suited to purchase your product or service. So don't mass email advocates. That's not a good way to present your company. We talked about reciprocity, a great way to get started in government contracting. Excuse me. And also, we talked about emergency contracting, if this is applicable to your business and has the capabilities. And then lastly, we talked about that somewhat confusing commercially useful function. So great. And the resources. All right, here's our business outreach email. I think it's already in the chat. We love to hear stories, so reach out to us. Maybe we can include them in one of our demonstrations, or maybe share them on our LinkedIn page. Here's our LinkedIn page. #OSDS Business Outreach. We post on Wednesdays all the events of the week, and we also have tips and tricks and hashtags, important things in there. So check us out, follow us. We'd love to have you follow us. Lastly, we will book appointments. You can schedule a one-on-one with us. We'll put the link in the chat. These are the areas. You can meet with one of our business outreach liaisons, and they can personally help you or direct you to another person within a department that might be more helpful to cover. But these are the topics, and you would choose one of those topics. So, after the workshop or the webinar, you have a question, you need assistance, feel free to schedule a time to talk with us. So,
Hey, Diane, there's a question that just
okay.
So if I order a product from Amazon, is it not allowed?
Is the question, are you inventorying that product? Are you actually purchasing volume, inventorying, managing it, stocking it?
And when in doubt, always ask the contract administrator.
And when in doubt, ask your advocate or your contract administrator. Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else?
And he said yes. So he is, yeah.
Okay. Again, my name is Diane Leiden. Teresa joined me today. We are your business outreach liaisons for the Office of Small Business and Disabled Veteran Business Enterprise Services. You have my email address. Hopefully it's in the chat, as well as our website. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us. We really think these types of workshops are very important and can be valuable. We'll be sending out a survey, so please give us your feedback, along with the recording of this webinar and this PowerPoint presentation. So Sandy, I'm going to turn it back over to you.
Hold on. So he's saying, so what's the answer? So if he is inventorying, if he's buying.
Go ahead and email us and we'll help you. We'll take that one offline.
Well, what a fantastic meeting. And again, the Regional Hispanic Chamber of Commerce and the Office of Small Business and Disabled Veterans Business Enterprise Services, OSDS, we are here to assist you with your certification and procurement access through outreach, education, and advocacy. I look forward to seeing all of you that registered for today's webinar and to join us next week. So let's keep on doing this. Let's keep on working on this. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Wait, somebody's, okay, they need our address.
Oh, okay.
Our website address. So it is. Got it.
All right. Fantastic.
Oh, they want the emails. Okay. And we'll post it in here.
I don't know if you can stop recording, Sandy, or not.
I'll stop as soon as the emails come up.
Okay. Yeah, that'll get it in the chat.
Uh-huh.
So you can have it. Looks like it was an active chat today.
Yes, very.
Good.
Fantastic.
Good. Yeah, we love it.
Got it.
Got it?
Mm-hmm.
And we're hoping that this will be recorded and will be sent to all of you that registered. Again, thank you for joining us and have a wonderful day. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.